Are you a U.S. citizen planning to apply for a green card for your parents? One of the most common questions I get asked is, how long is it going to take to get a green card for my parents if I apply for them now? We'll answer this question and everything else that you need about applying for a green card for your parents. Hello everybody, and welcome back to Immigration Channel. This is where we explain complex immigration matters in short, simple videos. In this video, we'll answer one of the most common questions that get asked is, how long is it going to take to get a green card for my parents if I apply for them right now? We'll go over the timeline, the procedures, and everything else that you need to know. Before we do so, if you're here for the first time, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos, and also give us a big like so YouTube will be able to show this video to more people just like you. So every year, thousands of people apply for green cards in different categories. One of the most common categories is for U.S. citizens who want to immigrate their parents to the United States. So what are the main requirements to do so? First of all, you have to be a U.S. citizen to be able to apply for your parents. Second, you have to prove that financially you're able to sponsor your family members, in this case your parents, to be able to live here in the United States until they become U.S. citizens. There are certain income requirements that you have to satisfy if you want to do so. Another requirement is that you have to be over 21 to sponsor your parents. You have to be a U.S. citizen over the age of 21. Next, you have to demonstrate a qualifying relationship between you and your parents. Typically, we prove that with a birth certificate, as long as your parents were married at the time of the birth. There are cases where children are applying for their parents, but the parents were not married at the time of birth, and there are other rules that apply in those cases. You can still do so, but we have to show more evidence to show that your parents were involved in your life at a certain age. And finally, your parents must intend to reside in the United States after they receive their green cards. Now, there are two ways to apply for parents, and it's really important to understand that. If your parents are inside the United States and they're currently here legally, they entered legally and they are living here in some sort of status, and you're a U.S. citizen, you're allowed to apply for your parents. You can adjust their status. The adjustment of status process is fairly quick, and you can be done with their green card process in less than a year. In this case, you're going to be filing their application for adjustment of status with the USCIS service inside the United States. This whole process will take place inside the United States, working with the USCIS. Now, this can also work if your parents, let's say, entered here as visitors, overstayed their visas, and maybe years later you apply for them as a U.S. citizen. That process can also be done inside the United States without any issues. Even if they overstayed their visas, they'll be able to adjust their status in the United States. The only caveat to this is if the parents entered the United States unlawfully at some point, remained in the United States all these years, now you were born in the United States and now you apply for your parents, that process is a little bit different because there is no waiver to waive their illegal entry. You won't be able to help your parents in this case. So the typical process of them going to a U.S. embassy or doing the adjustment of status is not going to work because they are not able to show legal entry. For those cases, we'll do a separate video to explain how to legalize undocumented parents who entered the United States unlawfully. Typically, this could involve the child joining the military or through petitions like VAWA and the U visa, but that's going to be for a separate video. Now let's talk about parents who are currently not in the United States. So as we mentioned before, if you're in the United States, it will take up to a year and you'll be all good to go. If the parents are outside the United States, the process is much longer and involves more steps. The first step is filing the immigrant petition I-130 with the U.S. Immigration Service. Once that's approved, typically about a year or so, then that case will be sent to the National Visa Center, where they're going to be processing the financial documents to prove that you can afford to bring your parents here. They're going to check their background. And then their case will be scheduled for an interview at the U.S. Embassy abroad. Right now, those interviews are taking a long time, and some applicants are waiting over a year after their cases have been documented complete at the National Visa Center. So if your parents are overseas and you're going to be processing this application from abroad, expect over 2 years wait time, sometimes even longer, to bring your parents into the United States. Once they pass their interview at the U.S. Embassy, they'll be issued an immigrant visa for 6 months, and then they'll be able to enter the United States and obtain their green cards in the mail within 30 days. So how long is it going to take to bring your parents to the United States? Well, again, as I mentioned, it will depend if they're here or abroad. If they're here, you're looking at less than a year to finish their process and get them green cards, even if they overstay their visas. If they're overseas, you're looking at over 2 years, probably closer to 3 years to finalize the process and bring your parents into the United States. Which process is better? It really depends. It depends on your parents, if they have visas to enter the United States. It depends on if they're able to travel and live here, because remember, while they're here going through the process, they're not going to have official health insurance, and quite a few families prefer to do the process from overseas if their parents are already there, to allow them to benefit from the insurance they have in their home countries until they are able to immigrate into the United States. Once your parents get the green cards, 5 years later, they're going to be able to apply for US citizenship if that's what they want. Once again, if you need help to immigrate your parents to the United States, you know what to do. You send me a text, 619-483-4549. I'm here for you to help you with all your immigration matters. Thanks for watching. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you on our next video.